Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, and our next guests in the studio are Jason Kraus, founder and CEO, and Steve Vilkas, Chief Dot Connector of Prepare for VC. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much.
Excited to be here.
Great to have you on. I know you guys are coming back, and you've had, I'm sure, an adventurous year, as many of us have. That's probably an understatement. And as your name indicates, you guys work with early stage companies. So tell our listeners a little about your company and what it is that you do for entrepreneurs.
Sure. So we started on the consulting and advisory side. It's still a component of what we're doing. Basically, the idea was it's still a really small percentage of startups, about less than 2% that ever get any sort of venture capital funding. And we wanted to change that. So we help startups figure out how to navigate the fundraising process, what to put in their pitch deck, how to trim down, loads of information into a focused story and get it out there to the right audience. Also figure out which investors they should be pitching and how to get in front of them. And then our big expansion in the last year, back in June, we launched our first accelerator cohort. So we have a 16-week program with lessons each week, a cohort of other startups you're working with and learning from, alongside our mentors and advisors, and demo day events we set up to really get your story out there and pitch to the right people. And the last part we launched a few months back as a community platform, just for all the startups, in our network to engage with each other. We host different events and other resources. For the startup community we're building.
That's great. And that community is national in scale? Is it regional? Tell us a little bit about what that community looks like.
Yeah, it launched, so it's been the last 3 months. We're up to about 400, a little over 450 members in there.
Wow.
More in, more in Boston, but it spans across, across the US with some international startups as well. We have some companies in like Latin America. We had a startup, come through our accelerator from Dubai, and keeping it pretty, a good benefit there is like, we're helping really strong entrepreneurs from other countries as well, also tap into the US market and the network here.
So are you guys finding that most of the people that are engaging with your service are first-time entrepreneurs, or are they serial entrepreneurs that perhaps haven't pursued external funding before? What's the sort of composition and the makeup?
Yeah, it's a lot of, I'd say the majority are maybe first, or not necessarily first-time founders, but at least first-time going the angel and venture route. So they might have started, a small business in the past or something else, but they're generally like companies that have raised less than $1.5 million in funding so far. So sort of in that pre-seed to seed stage there. And the first time like really seeking outside venture funding. They might have done either friends and family or some angel investment, but it's a different process, like formalizing the pitch and getting it out in front of more institutional investors. So we help with that process.
And I would imagine, and just some knowledge of the industry, one of the challenges that many entrepreneurs face, and it sounds like you guys sort of fast track it, is which doors to knock on, because obviously all VCs, all angels are not created equal. Obviously they have different areas of focus, and a lot of that is not easy to distill. So I'd imagine, do you guys relationships and vetting, so to speak, you're able to guide people in a direction that is probably higher likelihood of success, just because you're playing to an audience that has an interest in listening to the story that you're pitching, so to speak.
Absolutely. Steve, you want to take that on the networking and connection component?
Definitely. So first of all, thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure working with Jason and the Prepare for VC team now for a few months. And like you said, Jonathan, it's about knocking on doors and knowing which doors to knock on. And yeah, like dot connecting is about building relationships, but it's also about knowing how to make that approach in a very thoughtful way. So a lot of what I've been doing is having conversations with different potential partners and different people who are bringing resources and value into the space. And for our founders, it's about helping them tell their story so that when they make that approach, they come across as they are very authentic, very innovative, and very inspiring with the potential to change the future.
And on the partner side, what types of firms, entities, individuals are you either targeting or having success? I would imagine that you have, an extensive, to use the term stable, of opportunities. But what does that look like? I would imagine, the VC firms, if you will, that people have heard with Andreessen. They're not looking to you guys to connect them. They've got plenty of people knocking on their doors. Are they tend to be smaller shops, or they tend to be regional focused? They tend to be highly specialized in a particular industry. What are you finding are open to having you guys funnel people their way?
I mean, we've been seeing a lot of diversity, and I think as we're building these relationships, we're seeing that a lot of our people have different wants and needs, and Jason, we've had some pretty powerful conversations in bridge building. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I mean, one way we look at it is there's a few different categories for partners. We have a good number that are sort of resource partners. They offer either other types of services, that help build the startups up. Anything from marketing, accounting, legal support, that are really adding value outside of what we're offering the community and coming in to be a resource there. There's, the membership partners, which are also have their own network of startups they're we're collaborating with and bringing into our community and everything we're offering. And then there's more of the investors, accelerators, we're talking with both sides, like some accelerators that are more idea stage and flow into us, and then some that are a little bit investors and accelerators that are later stage and are a good opportunity for all the startups we work with then to go into their groups and what they're offering.
Being like value creators and value providers too, I almost liken it to, like, if you think about the old days when towns were formed and you had all kinds of different shops and people in those towns, we're basically creating a kind of village like ecosystem for startups. I just wanted to add that on, just to give you like an impression. Yeah.
Yep. And that marketplace for entrepreneurs is often, as I said, difficult to uncover, difficult to access. Depending on where we are in an economic cycle, I either hear people in the money side saying, we're always looking for deals, or the flip side is we have so many coming over the transom we can't even vet them. So I'd imagine you guys play a role in both of those, either providing new opportunities for funders to be introduced to prospective entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs, I should probably say, and the flip side also is doing some vetting for them in terms of the types of companies that you're sending their way.
Yeah. I mean, it's great when, and part of what we teach in the program too is like how the investor side actually works. And, just because you're not one of the 5 companies a VC invested in a year doesn't mean you're not an exciting company. Like they might have reviewed 1,000 decks to filter it down to 100 companies they met with. 10 of them went into the due diligence process and they invested in 5 of them. So like it's a pretty hard process, and there's still that second batch of if you invested in 5, you still might be excited in the next 20 or so. And if we can help them help companies create pitches that make it more exciting, and also help figure out how to take the feedback from investors and turn it into coming a lot of times, even if you get a no the first time, you can come back on sort of prove out some milestones they're looking for, and then excite the investors on how much you've been able to prove out since you met them. So we help them navigate that whole situation there.
Yeah, that
So we have
might not be at the end of the story. It might just be another opportunity.
As I was going to say, we have limited time for that, and thank you for adding that, Steve. One of the things I would ask, just to give our listeners a context, what's the typical time frame that these companies would engage with you guys for? Are you seeing them engage for you now that you've got some runway under you? Is it a 6 month? Is it 12 month? I know your accelerator probably is a certain time frame associated with it, but how long are these companies with you before it's time to move on, type of thing?
Yeah, so the accelerator is about a 4-month program. And then part of our model here too is we're here whenever you need us. So, we'll be that everybody that's either in our program or just in the community, is still part of that startup community. They get to interact with each other and interact with us. And then, the next time they need something and need help from us, we're there to support and either do another project with them or just, add value in other ways, connect them with some of our resource partners and, be there to support.
Excellent. Our guests have been Jason Kraus and Steve Vilkas. Prepare for VC, guys. If people want to get directly in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach out, find out more about you?
So our website is prepareforvc.com with the number 4. And there's a button at the top on that links to our community platform as well, where anybody that's listening can join and get access to our community network there. And then happy to share. My email is jkraus@prepareforvc.com as well.
And svelkas@prepareforvc.com.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure having you guys on and learning more about what it is that you provide, an invaluable service for budding entrepreneurs and startups. And sounds like you guys are making some great strides. And congratulations on the accelerator and getting things off the ground in the midst of a pandemic.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
And we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.